I've had my new small anvil just sitting here for, it's been months and I haven't even used it. I've just had no time to set it up properly. But I went to the lumber yard and I had them cut me these pieces of wood to size because I'm going to laminate a block together that'll be used as a stand for this small anvil. I'm actually gonna laminate these pieces upright vertically, and the smaller ones will be directly below the anvil, and then these ones that are an inch longer, like this here, will be along the outside, and then I'll have one of these rubber mats in between, so the anvil should sit flush with the top. And then I'm going to use this rod, which is 3/8 square, and then there are 2 grooves at the bottom. Those I'll make 2 hold downs with this piece. You know, I'll just forge that so it touches down to here, and it'll be on the wood. Maybe wrap it around the end here. But yeah, anyhow, so I'll get that done in the next couple of days here, and then I'll see how it works. Hi everyone, Happy New Year. As you can see, here's the anvil I currently use. Let's kind of zoom in on it a little bit. And then this is the newer small anvil, and that's the, you can see the laminated block that I made. So just about ready to use now. I'll show you quickly. Basically, I just took those short blocks and I glued them together in the middle, and then screwed these slightly taller blocks along the outside. And then right here I put one of these anti-vibrational mats, one of these, inside, so it sits on that. Let's see if I can maybe, this is kind of in there tight, take that out and get a look-see. So you see, so you can see the recess that's in here. And actually I think that laminating a block like this, of course if I had access to a tree stump that was big enough, it'd be a lot easier. Well, maybe not, because you'd have to cut that recess out, but I think that it's better to put the blocks in some instances vertically, because the tree grows in that direction, so it probably has more compression strength vertically. So I think that, you know, hitting on it in that, when the grain is running vertical, is probably a better option, but it probably doesn't matter that much. A lot of my other stuff here is not laminated in that way. It's just set up like that, you know, where the anvil sits on a block that way. But anyway, so we'll try this out. I think that let's put this back in. I think this anvil is going to be a really nice one to use. One of the issues I might have is, well, you know, I've actually haven't done this yet, but I was going to use this, as I said, this 3/8 square, and then bend that around and then screw it in front and back on both sides. But I think in the beginning I won't use this. I don't think it would matter too much, because this is so small that I think it's going to rock no matter what. Unless I had a base that was, for instance, if I was able to sink a stump into the ground very deeply, a very heavy stump that wouldn't move, and then I secured this anvil to that stump, then it wouldn't have any problem rocking. But obviously you can see where I am. That's not going to happen here. Another thing I thought about is maybe pouring a very heavy concrete block, but I just don't want to drag a block up and down. I just don't want to have such a heavy piece right in my workspace right here, because I typically move things around quite a bit. So I'm used to my anvil here rocking a little bit, and when I'm hammering I don't even notice it, but in the videos it seems very obvious. So, you know, I'm just going to use it as is and then take it from there. And I mean, obviously this block that I've made, it's not, you know, a master woodworker, I'm not, obviously, but it'll serve the purpose. So, and then this anvil is, you know, as I've said in previous videos, it's dead flat. And I was thinking maybe I would dress dress the face, but it really doesn't need it. Maybe the edges I might dress a little bit more, but I'll use it first and then take it from there. Typically this scale that's on here from the heat treating, I just, with this, my anvil on this side here, I actually never even dressed it. I just used it, and then that just wore itself off. It's not that heavy, so you know, it'll come off over time. And then if I want to ease the edges and maybe touch up a little some areas that I maybe don't typically hammer on, then I'll do that. But yeah, so yeah, I'll start using this in upcoming videos and in my normal everyday work, and I think that this is going to be a great little anvil. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hi everybody. The one tool that I feel here in Taiwan that I've never had a really good one of is a vise, a bench vise. And recently I've had, you know, I've been meaning to get one. I've actually looked and looked, but it's hard to, I'd like to find an old vise. They just seem to be much better. It's more likely that it was drop forged, and which is much better than something that's cast, in my opinion. Whether that be for an anvil or for a vise or any similar tool like that. But yeah, anyway, I use a vise constantly in my work and can't do without one, and so I've always used this small 4-inch vise, and it's served a purpose. It's the screw is really good on this vise. The action is quick, but the casting itself, the jaws, you know, could be better. And recently I was using it and had a tool malfunction. As you can see, it just split. I use it a lot to hammer on, kind of like a post vise, but not hammering in such a heavy way. And then when I went to tighten it on a piece, it just split. So that's it, junk. So, you know, I was thinking, like, I need to have another vise right away, so I went and just bought a similar one, and I'll show you that now. Here it is. This is a slightly larger. It's a 6-inch vise, and this is a Taiwan brand. This AL is their mark, and it's actually it's not an expensive vise. I think I probably paid maybe 70 or 80 bucks for this, but it'll serve the purpose for now. It's just I'm in a pinch and I really need to have this tool, and I know that there's an old tool market that's on open in the mornings and I think weekends, and I'm going to try to go there and see if I can't find something that would be better. But in the meantime, I'm going to use this. But the problem with a new vise, you know, at least for me, is I don't like the serrated jaws. Like, I know it's hard to see, but they're really heavily serrated, and these are hardened steel jaws. And so what I will do is I'll take these jaws off, and I'll just use it as is without the hardened steel jaws. And then that's why I specifically chose this vise, because I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't have, some have a kind of a lip right here where this hardened jaw will sit on, and this brand doesn't. You can see they've tack welded it on the sides though, in addition to the screws, and I'll just grind those off and take these off and then make sure everything lines up nice and flush. And for me, that's better. I don't want such a hardened jaw to dig into my work pieces. And then also another thing that you'll notice is usually the heavier the paint, the worse the casting. So this thing is painted like there's no tomorrow. And I feel that, you know, like I said, I'll use it and see how it works, but I'm going to be on the lookout for a much nicer vise. It would be, when I'm in the States, I had a nice post vise, and I had just a beautiful machinist vise. And so I'm going to be on the lookout here, and it won't be that easy to find, and if I can't find one, then the next time I go back to the States, which will be later this year, then I'm going to see if I can't bring one back with me. So, yeah, and then, anyhow, that's basically it for now. I'll keep you updated, and I'll probably be using this vise in some videos, and, you know, recently, like, I know I keep saying I'm going to be doing this and doing that, and I haven't done much, but it's just I've had a lot of different things going on, and this one's small problem is also something that just takes me away from stuff I'd like to do on videos, etc. So, yeah, anyway, have a good one, and I'll talk to you guys later. Well, I've got my vise mainly sorted out now for blacksmithing. I removed these two serrated hardened steel or alloy steel jaws, which was easy enough. Those tack welds were not very strong, and then just unscrewed them. And then I just made sure everything lines up nice. Actually, after removing those, for some reason, the sides don't seem to line up so well. But that's not a big deal. I'll just grind that down a little bit more. You know, I've removed the paint, so that makes it a lot more blacksmithing ready, obviously. And here, I'll never use this surface here, so I'm not going to worry about that. Just the jaws. When I get a chance, probably the screw holes here, I'll probably fill those in, weld those in a bit, and then smooth that down. But that won't bother me much, as you know, right now. But in the future, I'll probably take care of that. So the action of the screw is pretty nice, but after taking this apart, I can see that, you know, this is definitely the $70 or $80 range vise, even for its large size. Meaning, it's not that high of a quality of a vise when I see the internal workings of this. But like I said, I like the smoothness of the screw, and that's basically because this bed doesn't rest on the whole base here. It actually is just, there's two raised nubs, front and back, on either side. So it has less contact point, or it doesn't contact the whole bed, so it slides a lot easier. So that, I like that, because I like to be able to quickly tighten and then untighten as I'm working. And then I've also eased the edges back, which is necessary. I don't want to keep those edges sharp. So, you know, I think this is going to work just fine, and I'll be on the lookout for a better vise for sure. I'd say right now I'm not too pleased with my work setup. I kind of gotten a little bit frustrated, so I'm going to change things around, maybe how I mount my anvils, you know, where and how I mount this, and some other tooling. I just want to, it's high time that I made some changes to make it better for me while I'm working, more convenient. So I'll be taking care of those things here and there, and then obviously when I make videos of me working, you'll be able to see that, or I'll explain that better. One last thing that I forgot is that when I removed these two jaws, the vise would only close to about there. It wouldn't close completely. And I was wondering why, and then I noticed it's because the bottom, these protruding areas on either side were making contact here before the jaws actually closed. So you probably can't see from this angle, but I cut part of this off and radiused it a bit. So now, you know, the jaws will close no problem. So yeah, that's it. All right. Tools like this that are not specifically made for blacksmithing often need some work before they'll be ready to use for blacksmithing purposes. So just when you buy a tool like this vise here, or something else that's not specifically made for blacksmithing, evaluate it, and then make the necessary changes to make it work better for you while you're doing hot iron work. This is a quick final update on these things. The vise is working well, no problems there, but as I said, I'll still be looking out for a higher quality one. And then the newer anvil, really pleased with it. I've used it a few times and it's just top notch. And also the base, I'm actually pleased with the base, how rigid it feels when I'm hammering. But now that I see my anvil shaking in the videos, it's starting to annoy me. And so I've been thinking about it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change course, and I'm going to directly on the mat here, on those rubber mats, I'm going to build up another laminated block that covers the entire mat, and maybe that lamination will maybe make it about 4 or 5 inches tall, so just to the height that I need the anvils to be at. And then I'm going to mount both anvils directly onto that mat, and then maybe even, you know, have them secured to that wooden block, and then also maybe some way tie them together. And I think that the extra weight will keep them from moving around too much. So I plan on doing that soon. And then one other thing is you can even notice already on this anvil face that fine mill scale is starting to come off. You can see it's starting to get a little bit more shiny, like that one I've used for quite a while, right in the middle there. So there are some fine milling marks on the surface of this if you look carefully, but it doesn't show in my work, so I'm not overly concerned with that. But it is true that whatever your anvil face is, if it's beat up and dinged or has any markings, that will definitely transfer to your work if it's deep enough, and if your workpiece is hot enough when you're hammering on top of it. So that's something to consider. But right now it seems good, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'm gonna keep making these changes, and then eventually, hopefully, actually start working on some things that you can see in video. So that's finally that. So thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you next time.